The Met Office has said that 2023 was the second hottest year on record in the UK since, of course, records began, which wasn't actually that long ago in the big scheme of things. This comes out as a new law comes in force today requiring car manufacturers to make electric cars and sell electric cars to us, whether we want to buy them or not. There's actually going to be a mandate requiring a specific percentage of their cars to be EVs. Well, joining me now to discuss both these stories is Ed Gemmell. He's leader of the Climate Party. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, Julia.
And Benedict Spence is still here with us as well, just shuffled slightly down to the side. Let's talk first of all about the Met Office and the 2023 second warmest year on record for the UK. I say yay. I don't remember it being that great a summer. I remember quite a lot of rain, not actually being out on my lovely new terrace on my sofa, but we had an average annual temperature of 9.97 Celsius. I mean, yeah, so a bit rubbish average, you might say. It's behind 2022's 10.03 Celsius. This is according to records that date back to the late 19th century. We're still coming out of an ice age from about 12,000 years ago. We would expect temperatures to be warming slightly, generally, wouldn't we?
Oh, Julia, you do make me laugh when you come out with these statements straight away.
So is that not true?
So,
was there a mini ice age?
I think the point is to focus on what's actually important, Julia, and that's that the acceleration has happened much more rapidly recently. It's a result of man-made carbon emissions. That's been shown by the science. And I know you want to always talk about the science not working.
No, cap T, cap S. You know, the science, remember, the science.
Well, all right, the majority of scientists then, 99.5%, or whatever it is.
That's completely debunked.
That is absolutely not.
No, we
Julia.
Always get sidetracked by this, Edmund.
So let's not get sidetracked.
So
let's get ourselves back onto track at the moment. It's been absolutely shown by the scientists that we have been warming the planet faster since 1750 or so, and the start of the Industrial Revolution.
Well, it goes back to 1750.
And we can see, on the basis that in the UK, over the last 20 years, we've had 10 of the hottest years on record. And I know you talk about 9.97, but it's not about whether or not it's the average temperature during the entire period. It's
so that we have heat waves.
It's about those extremes
that 40-plus heat wave, look, that hit us all. That was very unpleasant. Our homes aren't designed for it. We're not used to those temperatures in this country, and it definitely affects us. We've seen heat waves elsewhere. I was in Sicily last year. We had 45 degrees. We're driving along with the road literally on fire on either side. There's certainly been some freak weather events, some unusual weather events. However, there are freak weather events. There are unusual weather events. We are seeing temperatures changing as such. But given that the temperature increase in recent years, I mean, we're looking at we've seen 0.1 degrees Celsius warming in the first 2 decades of the century so far. I mean, is that genuinely something to be worried about?
Yes, it is.
Why?
You know yourself that in terms of the IPCC reports, which you often quote yourself when you're talking about this topic, the IPCC has actually told us that as these temperatures go up, and they are the most conservative, most credible scientific body on the planet.
They're not conservative. That's not true.
They are extremely conservative.
And the IPCC always ramp stuff up. Anyway, if those temperatures go... So what's the problem with the temperature going up by 0.1?
Well, when the temperature goes up, we get increased effects. We get floods. We get problems with hurricanes. We get problems with heat waves.
That's not what the IPCC says.
In fact,
this is the problem. You have these conversations. You just spout the stuff. BBC and Sky spout. This is not evidence-based. There has been no increase. Even the IPCC reports actually state, not the press release, not the Guardian or the BBC headline, actually state, no, there has been no increase. It is likely or possible.
Julia.
There's no increase no increase in tornadoes or cyclones or hurricanes or flooding. There's not been an increase.
You have said this on many shows before, and I think you cross it, I'll nod it in. The last IPCC report, so the Working Group 2 report that went for the 6th assessment, and I looked it up just before I came on, specially for you. And if you go to actually Chapter 2, 2.31 of the report, it says the observed changes. Observed. It doesn't say maybe, maybe not. So you're absolutely and utterly wrong. Well, I've summarised it here. It says observed changes. Well, I mean, if you can, I'll go and get my laptop and we'll actually look at it.
Carry on.
But anyway, observed changes showing increased temperatures, changes in rainfall, changes in water levels, rising sea level, and increased frequency of extra extreme events. Now, it actually says it there. And
we haven't had an increased frequency.
You've been saying this for years, and it's wrong.
It's not
And you've got to get your facts right.
Even
because
wildfires.
actually, we can actually
We
look
haven't
at it
seen an
straight
increase
away.
overall in wildfires around the
But that is your. But that is your opinion, not the IPCC's.
No,
Julia, it is only your opinion. It's not the IPCC's.
There either have or there haven't been more wildfires.
Right.
There are official statistics compiled on wildfires. The official statistics show there has not been an increase in the number of wildfires.
Julia, you moved on from saying that the IPCC was wrong and doesn't say that we've had these observed impacts. We've just proved that wrong.
We haven't
proved we have, because
wrong.
in the report...
You haven't even given a direct quote, for goodness sake.
Sorry, Chapter 2, 2.31, you can look it up yourself. If you really want me to do, come on and quote it.
There are official stats that are available from internationally renowned bodies that show there are not increases in a lot of the... We're told, what we're constantly told by the IPCC and others sort of scaremongers is about that it is likely, it is probable that there will be increases in some of these weather events and climate events as a result of global temperatures rising. It hasn't actually happened. Every single time there is now rain, a drought, a fire, a hurricane, whatever it is, we're always told, oh, it's because of climate change. It doesn't matter what it is. Whereas actually, an awful lot of it is simply down to, for instance, El Niño or La Niña.
Let's...
El Niño. Can't even say it. No. Get my teeth back in. El Niño or La Niña.
You're wrong. The IPCC has actually said it, and you're trying to say they haven't. Wrong. OK, let's move on. But let's talk about what we should be doing about it and that sort of thing, you know? And I think probably you and I are actually on the same page when we come to this, because you're a big proponent for the Industrial Revolution and all the opportunities it brought to Britain.
I mean, everyone should be a proponent of the Industrial Revolution. It's how we're all alive. I'm 55. If there wasn't the Industrial Revolution, I'd have died 20 years ago or probably in childbirth.
Right. I'm with you. I love the Industrial Revolution, and there's a new Industrial Revolution coming, and we can lead it. And we don't want to be held back all the time, Julia. There is an opportunity here for all of us. People like yourself, another ex-colleague of yours, Richard Tice, a number of others, people who don't want us to grab the opportunity that's in front of us and deal with it. Now, look, whatever we believe on the science, and we don't even have to agree on it, and I think that we can politely disagree on it, or even vociferously disagree, but what we can agree on is where is the big industrial mission and the big opportunity for this country.
OK, I want to come back to that, because I want to talk about, the cars and things like that, but I just want to come back to this whole second warmest year on record. Just let's stay focused on that. Even if it's on record since, I think 1880s, when they've actually got these official records, OK? We know the medieval warm period was warmer. We know many periods before, before the modern period, where we didn't keep these sort of scientific records, but we have records from glaciers, we have records from tree rings, and a huge number of different records to show what the temperatures were. Man has not just survived, has thrived in warmer temperatures than we exist in now, many, many, many millennia before now. Why do you think it's a problem? And even when you say, oh, well, we're going to have all these more extreme weather events, even if extreme weather events do get worse and they are more frequent, given that in the last 100 years, we have managed to cut the deaths from extreme weather events by 99% because of the man's ability to control our environment through the Industrial Revolution, through technology, why do you think it's something to worry about? Even if people accept that there is global warming that is happening, that man is in control of, why do you think it's a problem?
Julia, you confuse so many things when you ask these questions. I mean, going right back to the beginning of it, you talked about us thriving millennia ago when we were hunter-gatherers, or when we didn't have any of the luxuries and things that you want now, and you talk about it as thriving. I'm not quite sure how you want to...
Man does better in warmer climates.
I'm not quite sure how you want to thrive, Julia.
More human beings live in warm climates than cold climates for a reason on the Earth.
But hang on.
But they don't live in outer Siberia, but they do live on the tropics.
Only a very, very short time ago, you were talking about immigration on your own show, and I was sitting here and listening about it. Why are those people running away from some of their countries to come here?
They live in their countries because of war and inadequate governance.
Oh, and because of drought, and because they don't have food, and because...
There is famously a lot of drought in Albania right now.
Yeah, Benedict spoke.
But that's not a very good one, Benedict.
I think
if you're going to make a nonsense comment, let Benedict come in on this.
I think we've had quite enough of that. I'm not particularly interested in what is causing the climate change, because climate fluctuates whatever direction anyway. The interesting bit is what are the solutions to it, and I think that's what we're kind of getting at here when we talk about industrialisation. And I think it's interesting, actually, that you mentioned, were we actually living particularly well in the state of nature? Did we particularly thrive in places like...
I'm just saying that...
No, did we thrive in places like Siberia? And this is something that needs to be borne in mind, is it's not actually in the interests of most countries around the world to stop fossil fuel production. Let's take Russia, for example, because most of the living space in Russia is currently tundra or permafrost. That will not remain the case if Russia continues to pump out fossil fuels. You need to remember, actually, the long-term solution to this is about technology and embracing change. That does not mean reverting back to a sort of a Stone Age existence because we use less technology.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
OK, we're all in agreement on that, at least. Industrial Revolution, good thing, everybody. But here's the thing. I don't know why people think that it's a problem for the world to get warmer and greener, as it has been doing.
And Julia, look, I mean,
I
can answer it, but I'm always exasperated when you come out with these things.
But don't tell me how exasperated you are.
If we have an increase in all of the disastrous effects of climate change, why is that good? So if we have an increase in sea level, if we have an increase in droughts,
sea level necessarily a disaster?
If we have, as the Met Office said, even in the article we referred to today, if the Met Office is saying that we get these more disastrous rainpours in the winter in the UK and we get hotter summers, none of these things...
Given the choice, I will accept more rain in the winter in return for hotter summers, and I think most people in Britain would.
Yeah, but nobody wanted...
And we can fill up our reservoirs. Brilliant.
But nobody wanted the 40 degrees.
Well, no, we don't want 40.
But also, you talk about...
Although, to be fair,
Julia,
if we're going to have 40 degrees, then let's just get aircon.
Look, I also find this pointless because what we want is rain coming over a period of time where we can absorb it into the ground and our reservoirs can pick it up. Not that it comes like this in a very short space of time and then it doesn't get absorbed into the reservoirs very easily and everything else. And I don't know why you laugh. I find it so funny that you laugh at these things.
Given that we have had a 99% fall in the number of people who get killed by natural disasters, by changing climate, why is that a problem?
But why is it a problem also to look at the statistics that say when we had the heat wave that we had an increase in unnecessary deaths and it was recorded by the NHS? I don't know why you pick
more people die from cold than from heat by a factor of... But 9 times more people die from cold, even in Africa, than die from heat.
But Julia, why are you hung up? Why are you hung up on trying to prove the world scientists wrong? Why? Because to be honest, like Benedict, can I just bring it in? One second.
The world scientists is again another load of nonsense. All scientists do not agree on this.
But Julia, we don't need to agree. We need to agree on the solution.
No, I don't think it's... I don't know. No, we need to just... A, we need to go, is it happening? B, is it a problem? And then we talk about a solution. No. There are plenty of scientists who question whether it is happening and is as a result of man in the majority. Plenty of scientists do that. There's 99% nonsense is a load of nonsense. But also, is it a problem? There is actually plenty of evidence that it's not a problem.
Julia, you completely missed out the opportunity. What we have to agree on is the opportunity. What we also have to agree on is where things are going.
Jobs.
No. Forget the word green in this for a minute. Just talk industry and opportunity. And look at the fact that whether or not we believe in climate change, whether or not you and I...
You don't have to believe in anything. It's either a fact or it's not.
Whether or not we agree with each other on this issue or not, we don't need to agree with each other on this issue. We need to see that the world is already moving in this direction and there is an opportunity. No, Julia, stick on the topic for a second.
Edmund, I want to move on to the other part of the topic, and we're told this is an opportunity. Now, if everyone felt so strongly about this and it was such a great opportunity, you wouldn't have to have a mandate, a zero-emission vehicle mandate that has come into force in law today from the Department of Transport, forcing major car brands to, under the pain of huge penalties, a £15,000 fine for every non-EV, non-electric vehicle, to basically, it's going to require them to make 22% of their new vehicles sold in this country to be electric vehicles, zero emission. And it's going to keep going up and up until it's 80% by 2035. If this was a wonderful opportunity, it was so great, it's a wonderful new industrial revolution, no one had to be forced to be fined or to face penalties or to get subsidies to get from horse and cart to cars, because it was a fantastic new revolution in technology. People didn't have to be forced to buy, iPhones because it was a fantastic new revolution. They weren't forced. They wouldn't face penalties if they didn't get a telephone or get a dishwasher or a washing machine because people wanted them. Why is the government having to have a law to enforce the sale of a particular kind of car that people mostly don't want to buy because it's more expensive and it's not as good? If this was an opportunity and wonderful, you wouldn't have to do that, would you?
the same article you're referring to actually has 2 managing directors of 2 of the major car companies saying they're in favour of it.
Of course they...
And in fact, the other bit you missed out is it also has the commentary in it that, in actual fact, we're all going to get big reductions on our electric vehicles because there's going to be competition to sell them. What's bad about that? So what we're actually saying...
They're going to be not as expensive as they already are.
So,
brilliant.
So not as expensive as they already are by potentially £15,000 or more if they're trying to make up for this subsidy issue.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is that all you've done is come out with the negatives, and there are very great positives as well. Now, look, the secondary bit is it leads us at the front of this particular bit of the Industrial Revolution.
No one's paying. India and China and Brazil, no one is paying. They're not paying any attention. They think we're insane. Benedict, I'm going to give you the final word.
I think that's the key point. Is it's all very well saying we're going to be at the front of this revolution, but if it's only you and a very select, small group of countries that are doing it, whilst the rest of the world continues to burn fossil fuels to heat their homes, to fire their industries, then you have lost the race. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to.
Pointless.
Right, we're going to have
to move ahead and win this industrial revolution.
But we will lose.
But we will lose because we are cutting off our own legs. We've got that works
we will if
until
you
a better one comes along.
Delaying us, we won't.
Right, I'm going to take control back. Edmund Gemmell, it's always a pleasure to have you come in. He's leader of the Climate Party. Benedict Spencer with me.